Hey everybody, how's it going? Hope you're having a lovely day. Today I'd like to discuss how Samsung is gaslighting users with their televisions by telling them you don't have to pay, but that you do have to pay, but you don't have to pay. It's an error, it's a mistake, it's not an error, and I want to explain how this is very similar to what Tado did with their thermostats several months ago when they were gaslighting their users. Tado makes smart thermostats, and they sent out a message to everybody saying, due to rising server costs and blah, 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 you're going to have to pay a monthly fee to get access to this. When people went to their forums to complain, they were told that this is just a test and they couldn't say more. The reality is that the paywall that they had created where you insert your credit card information and your name was actually fake. The application would work after you entered all your information into the paywall, but it wouldn't charge you. The purpose of this was to figure out if you were one of the people who, I'm not saying you're stupid, from their point of view, was stupid enough to pay them again for what you had already paid for when you bought the product. They would be able to have an understanding of how many people thought that this product was worth paying twice for. They wanted to test you. It's kind of like if you're dating somebody who says, I'm going to cut myself if you don't visit me tonight except with your smart home products. Sadly, it's a similar type of abusive relationship. Now, the thing that bothered me with this is that they just couldn't come out and be honest about it. They had to use this weaselly type of language and say it was just a test. It's just a prank, bro. Because those are the people that we really respect on YouTube. Now, when you take a look at what Samsung did with their frame televisions, it was something very, very similar. And I wanted to go through a lot of the inconsistencies in the story. Firstly, what happened altogether is that people who own the Samsung frame television were no longer able to use the art mode on it to display their works anymore. So they got this message saying you will need to subscribe to use Art Store. Now, when you bought the television, one of the advertised features is that you could loop through your art and it was not going to charge you money. This comes from tech.no. For several years, I've been able to show my own photo series without any problems. But now I get this error message when I press Show All button. Get a membership, you need a subscription. All I am trying to do is show a slideshow with JPEG photos that I own, and I have imported via USB. I've tried logging out of SmartThings, disconnecting from network, and so on and so forth. Samsung claims that this is an error. We are aware that some customers are having problems uploading images to their TVs via Samsung Art Store and SmartThings. There's been no change to the system for uploading images. This is available to all customers, including both subscribers and non-subscribers to Art Stores, is a statement sent via the Norwegian PR agency. PR agency. Why are you involved in a PR agency if you didn't do anything funny? Samsung writes that they encountered an implementation error on the developer side that has affected some customers. An error. An error. An error is when I trip over a mop that's lying on the floor that I forgot to pick up. An error is when my parents don't use birth control. An error is not when you place a paywall that says that you now have to pay to get access to what you had before. If you look at Samsung's own website, it claims over here, what does display all function do in the frame? Display all function in the frame puts all of your artwork in a slideshow for display. It rotates out the art every minute by default, but you can change the rotation time in your settings. This feature is only available for subscribed members to the Samsung Art Store. And this is a page that was rolled out around the same time as the firmware update. If you take a look on archive.org, you'll see that this page only came out around July 3rd, 2025, around the same time as this firmware update that was a error. Nothing changed. But yeah, it did change and you have to pay for it. But that was a mistake. Let's look at how they were sharing this news with their customers. This is the official response from Samsung Tech Support. Contact form via their website. It's just a guide on how to pay for a monthly annual subscription. When I queried the Samsung official Twitter accounts, the response was, if this was the advice given to you by our TV team, then you would need to pay to display the art. Does anyone at Samsung understand their own products? I contacted Samsung via the support website and then via Twitter, and then via the SmartThings app, and then the SmartThings support form. They are all deflecting. First, they said I must purchase a subscription and closed the ticket. Then I opened another ticket, and they have it passed on to higher support, no response yet. Samsung Help UK on Twitter said I must pay. Then when I argued, they said I should contact SmartThings. SmartThings said it's not their department and closed the ticket. 2 weeks ago, somebody posted this to their forum. Some frame television owners may see a message asking them to subscribe to Samsung Art Store when they attempt to display a slideshow of their own photos. This has been occurring following a recent update. A version of the Art app that does not require paid subscription to use My Photos feature is currently being prepared. The improved app is expected to be released in early August WK32. This update will be applied automatically to the television. Pay attention to the vocabulary used by these weasels, and this is why when it says that they hired a PR firm and the PR firm reached out with it, I'm watching for that crisis communication bullshit, and I want you to too. Listen to the vocabulary that they're using. This is PR speak, and that's why I pointed out in the Tech.no article that it was somebody from a PR firm, not Samsung, that made their statement. They're very careful in the words that they use because they make six-figure salaries off of using manipulative language to gaslight you. I talked about this in the video that I did on Adobe, where you got to hear that type of PR speak in non-committal language. Look at what they said here. They said the improved app. They didn't say the application the way it was before, that you bought with the television before we broke it. They're saying the improved app. They're making it sound like we're improving things for you because we like you that much. You may think that this is a petty detail, but these things matter. There's a reason that they have a PR firm speaking to the public about this rather than just themselves, because they know what they did. In my opinion, they did what Tado did. They're testing to see what people will put up with. And they're trying to slowly turn up the temperature to see at what point people will jump out. You're trying to speak out of both corners of your mouth so that you could figure out which side is the one that's most beneficial for us and then claim that that's the one that we had all along. I don't play that shit, and I don't think your customers should either. I think your customers should assume that you're trying to fuck them. Samsung has no goodwill built up with the repair community, and most certainly no goodwill built up when it comes to consumer rights in general. Samsung tried to destroy the entire aftermarket for LCD screens based on a patent of pixel formations. Samsung puts ads all over their products. Samsung asserts the right to take your property from you during a repair if they don't like what you've done to the product prior to sending it into them. Samsung forces you to sign forced arbitration agreements after you've already bought their products, or else they're not going to be usable anymore. Samsung's response to a right to repair program is to sell a $206 battery for your 4-year-old smartphone. And from time to time, they use sweatshop labor that gets paid complete garbage and shitty working conditions that gets rated by ICE. They're weighing everything and watching very closely. Their PR team, their marketing, who wins in the court of public opinion, in the court of law, and their bank account. They want to figure out what is most beneficial to them when they balance all of these things, and they want the ability at the end of it to be able to pretend that they were actually on the side that won all along. And that's bullshit. If they believe they can get away with it because most people won't care and will buy their products anyway and it's legal, they'll say, yes, you were supposed to pay for it. See, we said so over there. And if they realize that, oh yeah, people are not putting up with this, we can't do this, that's illegal, and even if it isn't, people are going to show up outside our office with pitchforks, they can pretend that, oh yeah, that was the department that was right all along. They're doing this so that they have plausible deniability in the case that something goes wrong. And I don't like that. Think about this before you purchase a Samsung television. If you want to buy a Samsung television, purchase a used Samsung television so you're at least not giving them money directly. It's very difficult here to vote with your wallet because when you're looking at high-end television manufacturers, you get, what is like Sony, LG, Samsung. It's not like you have a market with 40 different players selling amazing high-end things. What I do in my personal life is when it comes to companies like this, I will do my best to purchase something used. I get it. It's not as good as not purchasing at all. But if I want something like that, at the very least, I'm not giving that company money directly. And here's what you can do. If you're somebody who changed your profile picture to a Clippy and you're wondering, what's next, what do I do? Write an article before I do. Beat me to it. Beat me to the punch. Have an article the same day that this shit happens. When you have evidence and proof that different departments are telling you something different regarding taking away functionality of something that you already bought and paid for, log it in consumerrights.wiki. The sooner you log it in consumerrights.wiki, the sooner a community is going to get to work on it. The second that you have proof that they have done this to multiple users and you have the evidence that they are saying different things to different people, you have it on the website where they say you need a subscription, but then they're telling you don't, but then they're telling you have to pay. When they take away access to something you bought and paid for, log it. Log it over here on consumerrights.wiki so the people that work with me and for me with my consumer rights nonprofit can get to work on ensuring that this does not stand. Log it on consumerrights.wiki so that we can work together collectively to push back against this, legally, culturally, legislatively, in the media, and everywhere else. I genuinely appreciate all of you that have put in the work to add these things to consumerrights.wiki, because when you do that, you're believing that by putting in a couple of minutes of your time, that's not a waste, that is actually going to lead to some sort of positive change. And in some way, I'm humbled by it because you believe that what I've put together is actually something that will benefit you if you put a few minutes of time into it. And I'm going to do my best to live up to that standard. I'm going to do my best to ensure that every single time some sort of anti-consumer bullshit like this occurs, that there are people pushing and working to fight back against it. Thank you very much for taking the time. And as always, I hope you learned something. I'll see you in the next video. Bye now.
We also have the duty not to infringe the IP rights in the process. It is in fact the manufacturers who have the relevant rights, not consumers.